A vast, somber great hall. Sunlight barely pierces through the tall stained-glass windows, illuminating the dust suspended in the air. All the lords and ministers have gathered, their faces masks of restrained tension and expectation. They wear ceremonial robes, yet the atmosphere feels more like a funeral than a solemn court. Elissara sits upon the throne of iron oak. Her posture is flawless, but the gaze she fixes on the doors is sharp as a blade. On both sides of her stand the captains of the royal guard, their hands resting on their sword hilts. The doors open. Adrien is brought in, bound in heavy shackles inlaid with iron. For towering guards flank him, but Adrien. He does not look defeated. His silver hair is disheveled, his clothes wrinkled, yet a wild, triumphant fire blazes in his eyes. He walks, he does not stumble. When he is placed before the throne, he lifts his head and, ignoring the queen entirely, slowly sweeps his gaze across the hall. His lips curl into a slow, eerie smile. Adrien, loudly, but almost gently, what irony. The entire elite of Northgard gathered to witness my end. As if you could truly see it, Elissara, coldly, from the throne, you will stand trial for treason, Adrien. For attempting a coup and orchestrating an assassination against the crown. Your end will be swift and public, as the law demands. Adrien's laughter begins. It starts as a low growl and then rises into loud, infectious laughter that echoes off the stone walls. Adrien, a trial? What a dreadful joke. Look out the window, Your Majesty. Look upon the true trial. All eyes turn instinctively toward the tall stained-glass windows. At first, silence. Then, from outside come screams. Not individual cries, but a chorus of thousands. Smoke, thick, black, acrid, begins to rise above the rooftops, creeping across the lower panes of the windows. On the square before the palace, chaos erupts. What began as a gathering has transformed into a riot. People in simple peasant clothing, armed with pitchforks, axes, and torches. The shouts grow clearer. Down with the witch. She drained the life from our prince. Fire will cleanse Northgard. Paid agitators, burly men with the hidden tattoos of mercenaries, do their work well. They throw punches. Shout carefully prepared slogans, set the first wagons and tents ablaze. Adrien seizes the moment of panic and raises his shackled hands high. Adrien, shouting across the entire hall, his voice cutting through the noise like a war horn. Do you hear it, lords? Do you hear it, ministers? That is no mere mob. That is the people of Northgard, and they come to free us from the tyranny of this woman. She bewitched the throne, she sold our kingdom to the southerners, she drinks the blood of our children. He jerks his head toward Elissara. Surrender at once, and swear fealty to me. Surrender, and you shall live. Today marks a new dawn for Northgard. A suffocating, poisonous silence settles over the hall of judgment. Every gaze is no longer fixed on Adrien, but on the people standing beside them. Some of the assembled lords exchange glances. Their restrained tension now grows into open fear and, worse, calculation. They know the price of loyalty, and the price of survival. On the face of the elderly Count Adrien, the Minister of Finance, a painful hesitation is written clearly. The treachery is deeper than anyone believed. This was never just Adrien's influence, it was his planning. His imprisonment was a signal, not an end. Suddenly, in the southern wing of the hall, Lord Bardus, Baron of the Western Marshes, violently shoves his neighbor aside. He draws a weapon, a thin but razor-sharp estoc, right there in the court, and without a single word drives it into the neck of Lord Vernon, the captain of royal provisions. Lord Vernon collapses with a choking scream. This is the signal. At once, 3 or 4 other lords from the right wing draw daggers concealed in their sleeves and rush toward the guards along the walls, attempting to cut them off from the queen. Adrien's voice rises again, this time a battle cry, Northgard for Northgard. Forward! Freedom! The guards surge toward Adrien to silence him and drag him out, but now the hall has become a battlefield, a place where the queen is surrounded by both loyalists and traitors. From beyond the doors, out in the corridor, the clash of steel rings out. Adrien's inner guard has begun their move. Elissara remains seated on the throne, but her hand now grips the carved handle of her scepter. The great hall has become a bloody maelstrom. A battle inside the throne room is chaos incarnate, a lethal, frantic struggle. Everywhere, screams, the clash of steel, and agonized cries. The queen's loyal guards try to hold the line, but they are outnumbered. Ruan, commander of the royal guard, is a whirlwind of armor and steel. He stands closest to the throne, shielding Elissara with his life. Ruan blocks a strike aimed at Elissara. The attacker is Lord Bardus, Baron of the Western Marshes, his face twisted with hatred and fear. His estoc whistles through the air and slams against Ruan's shield plate. Ruan, growling through clenched teeth, betrayal in this sacred hall. Bardus? You'll pay in blood. With a brutal shove, Ruan knocks the traitor backward, where another guard immediately finishes him off. Suddenly, a piercing sound, shattering glass, rips through the hall. Everyone flinches. One of the tall stained glass windows explodes into a storm of multicolored shards. A black-fletched arrow slices through the opening. It flies across the hall with terrifying precision and buries itself in the massive oak back of the throne, a single inch from the queen's head. Had Elissara moved even slightly, Elissara's gaze, until now controlled and restrained, turns to ice. This is no accident. This is a hunt. Adrien, standing near the main doors and watching the chaos unfold, bursts into triumphant laughter. Adrien, do you see now, my sister? Even the palace walls themselves rise against you. At that moment, as Elissara's loyal guards rush toward the shattered window to find the archer, the main strike comes, the doors of the hall explode. Heavy oak panels splinter under the impact of a battering ram. Masked mercenaries storm in, elite warriors of Northgard, clad in black leather and steel, bearing no insignia. They are assassins, Adrien's last card. There are 10 of them, and each radiates deadly intent. They immediately block the entrance, cutting off any escape. Elissara rises from the throne. She is no longer the queen who judges. She is a warrior. Swiftly, she grabs a sword from a fallen guard at her feet. A long, heavy blade. She lifts it with both hands. She does not flee. Final shot. Queen Elissara and Ruan stand back to back in the center of the hall, amidst corpses and overturned furniture, surrounded by a ring of enemies, traitorous lords and Adrien's elite mercenaries. The light from burning wagons outside casts long, dancing shadows across the room. Elissara, shouting through the roar of battle, her voice cutting through the chaos, pure and fearless, if they want my blood, let them try and take it themselves. For Northgard.